It's the Magic Untapped Podcast on MagicUntapped.com, YouTube, and your favorite source for podcasts. Hello, Magic players. Barry White from Magic Untapped. It's the ho, ho, ho holidays. And with me for this month's podcast, December 2020. Yes, 2020 is finally just about over. Are the Magic Untapped writers Jim Avery and Evan Simon. Jim, how are you, sir?
I am doing well. I am very much ready for a holiday break after this nightmare of a year.
Yeah, tell me about it. And Evan, things going down there well for you in Southern California?
Yes, everything is great here in Pasadena, kind of.
That's Pasadena, not Pastor Turna. Haha, little magic pun there. But no, seriously, though, we got some fun stuff to talk about. I don't know if you've been keeping up on trends, but I would hope you are. We got a thing coming up called Kaldheim. Sounds pretty cool, huh?
Aha, I see what you did there.
Ah.
Cool indeed.
Of course, Kaldheim is kind of a Nordic, dare I say, Skyrim type of Magic set coming out in very early February. We got previews going all through January. Actually, previews have started now. We got pre-release tournaments sometime mid to late in January before the actual set's release. Of course, that doesn't matter too much because of COVID. Can't really go into stores and do pre-release tournaments, but nevertheless, new set coming up. Evan, are you looking forward to this?
I am. We haven't seen a snow-themed deck in quite a while, and just to get one now, especially during February when it's going to be cold pretty much everywhere, it's kind of like perfect timing on their part.
Although if they did do this in June and July, it would be like Christmas in the summer, I guess, bringing snow to the hot sunshine.
Could work.
Jim, what are you looking forward to on this set?
I am looking forward to some extremely cool looking creatures, some extremely cool mythology. I am like 100% on board with the sort of metal-esque themes that Wizards of the Coast are putting together here. I'm excited for that.
They really are going kind of all in on the like the heavy metal type of like Nordic Scandinavian feeling, aren't they there, Jim?
They really are, and I am absolutely here for it. Like, I was listening to Judas Priest as I was writing up our thing on the Week of Metal.
Rock on.
For the proper frame of mind.
All right, well, we do have a handful of cards that have been spoiled, and let's go ahead and take a look at just a couple of those. We've had a Planeswalker spoiled so far. Kaya, the Inexorable, which is, of course, legendary Planeswalker, 5 loyalty for black, white, and 3, 5 total. It's +1, says put a ghost form token on up to 1 target non-token creature. It gains, quote, when this creature dies or is put into exile, return it to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. At a -3, it can exile a non-land permanent. -7, you get an emblem that says, quote, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or from among cards you own in exile for free. What do you guys think?
If you get that, I'd say pick. If you get that in like a hand, keep it.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic +1, I think. Just give your creatures temporarily immortality, and just that's the +1. I can't believe it.
Yeah, usually a +1 is just something lame you do at a wedding or what have you. But no, it's pretty good. It's one of, I believe, 4 Planeswalkers we're expecting in this set. If I'm imagining correctly, we got 2 new ones. We don't know what they do yet, and Tybalt rumored, all but confirmed. I think maybe even fully confirmed to be on in this set. But this is I think a pretty good solid start for your debut Planeswalker for Kaldheim. A couple other cards I just kind of want to point out. We have Pyre of Heroes, which is a 2-drop artifact. It says 2 tap, sack a creature, search your library for a creature card that shares a creature type with the sacrificed creature and has converted mana cost equal to 1 plus that creature's converted mana cost. You put that card in the battlefield, shuffle your library. You can only do this as a sorcery. I think this is pretty powerful, especially at 2 to cast, 2 to activate. Evan, what are your thoughts?
Again, one of those cards you get, it's like you might want to hang on to it, you might not want to. We'll see, but I'd have to see a little more about it, because it's one thing just seeing what it is, it's another playing it, and has to see how it does with other cards in the deck. But just based on what you said and what's been spoiled, sounds pretty good.
Jim?
I think it's pretty good if you manage to build around it properly. I think it seems like a good power ramp card. It's mainly like a really good fetch card, I think.
Right, kind of like a colorless birthing pod in a way, I think.
Oh yeah, I think I recall us talking about that at one point in the past.
Of course, along with all this Nordic theming come sagas, which I think flavor-wise work really, really well into the old Scandinavian Nordic tales. We have one saga so far unveiled, Showdown of the Skalds enchantment for white, red, and 2. Its first mode is exile the top 4 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. And then its second and third mode both are whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And really, this is Boros, technically card draw with buffing. I think this is, at least in limited play, I think this is a pretty strong saga. Jim, what are your thoughts?
I would agree with that for sure. It seems like the first and the second phase have a lot of good synergy with each other. Like, especially if you're late in the game and you've got a bunch of small drops, you can throw 4 of them out there, play a bunch of them, and you've got like 4 counters out there right away if everything lines up correctly. So it seems like as a late game thing, it could really be like just that extra firepower you need.
Evan?
Depends what color you're going to play. I mean, if you're going with anything if you're going with anything else, you should fear this card. But if those are your colors, go for it, man.
Of course, those are only a few of the 9 or 10 cards that have been spoiled as of the recording of this episode of the podcast. But, there are, of course, some more of those dual-faced dual lands. I'm still not married to those, not a fan personally. Evan, Jim, you have an opinion on those?
They've been around for a while now, and it's you love them and you hate them. It's when it works in your favor, it works amazingly well. I mean, I've done some hands where I just won very quickly, just by playing those, because it does so much. But other times, it's almost a hassle,
Mm-hmm. Having to choose sometimes isn't always fun.
Mm-hmm.
And now, along with the singles that so far have been unveiled, we have a new showcase frame. It's got this really ornate etching to it, especially on your multicolored cards, where it really blends from one to the other. One such card that has been spoiled with said frame is Solrolf, Realm Eater. I'm not going to talk so much about the card specifically, but just the overall treatment that Wizards has decided to give the showcase cards this time around. I think really kind of draw you in and really catch your eye. Jim?
Yeah, I love this right here. I love like the way it feels like it's taken out of some ancient mythological text, like the dragons in the corner, the cool rune-esque designs. I think it really nails like sort of the feel they're trying to go for in this set, and it looks super cool.
It's almost like it's right out of Asgard to pull a Marvel Comics Thor reference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my only little concern though is on the creatures and the power and toughness. Honestly, I think the box kind of overtakes the text a little bit. It's, a little too ornate for such a small space. But I mean, I'm nitpicking here on something like that. I mean, this thing looks awesome.
Yeah, wow. They're really going all in the Viking thing here. I mean, look at that artwork. They've done like a lot of dyes and things so far that have really made that like, Valhalla-like or like Skyrim-like art on there. It's pretty amazing what they're doing here.
Yeah, it's I agree. Very, very impressive. Almost as impressive, you might say, as the holiday Magic the Gathering cards, to use that as a segue, that Wizards of the Coast have been putting out for a number of years now to select parties and chosen few. Evan, you did an article about that here just within the last week. Why don't you just tell our podcast listeners a little bit about what you learned about these cards?
So the holiday cards have come out every year since 2006. They're mainly, like you said, they go to people either whether you're within Magic, Wizards of the Coast, or like people around them, like people who sell it to them and things like that. Just like within that little group. And every year they have one Christmas theme or holiday themed card, I should say. Some are based off of plays off of other cards. Okay, so one of the main ones was Gifts Given, Gifts Unforgiven. That was one of the first ones they did. And if you remember, Gifts Unforgiven was, it was back years ago. It was like really dark and gloomy. But for the Christmas version, it was like they're finally giving the gifts. That was one of the major changes. Other ones been plays on Christmas things like Tiger Stocking. This is my favorite one. It was, stockings, by the Fireplace with Care from the Christmas songs and things like that. It's a stocking that's alive and it's attacking other stockings. So they do this every year. They just make these little plays. You can't put these on like any major tournament or anything like that. But
silver border.
If you're just doing it for fun, you can definitely play these cards in.
Yeah, it's just kind of too bad they're not a little more widely available, but they are really fun. I took a look at the list. We have Seasons Beatings as opposed to Seasons Greetings. We have Snow Mercy versus No Mercy. The Stalking Tiger, like you mentioned, which is really kind of Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas-esque. There's some fun things here. It's just a shame that the average Joe can't get in on this at least once.
Well, you can get them. They're very stupid, crazy expensive.
Especially for cards you can't really play anywhere. But as far as cards you can play here and there, I think it's a perfect time to talk about our winners and losers. All right, so our top three winners over the past week, value-wise, for those of you on the MTG finance train, we have in third place Mishra's Factory from Antiquity, specifically the winter artwork. I guess that works, being in December. It grew 144%, going from $253.99 to $620. Next up on the list is Dwarven Recruiter and Uncommon from Odyssey. It went up 518% from $1.13 to $7. And topping our list is a reserve list rare from Alliances, went up 1,440%, jumping from $1.27 to almost $20, $19.56. What jumps out at you here between these three cards, Jim?
I'm seeing a little bit of a theme here between like the snow and winter and the dwarves. I think people are like buying Christmas presents and they're skewing the card values or something like that.
Maybe a little bit. Evan, what do you think?
I think it's a reaction to Kaldheim, personally. Because just from what we've been seeing, there's going to be a lot of dwarves in there, like Jim said. It's a cold theme, so I think we're seeing people are preparing for this kind of this push towards that, and that's why you're seeing the prices just fluctuating like this right now.
Yeah, I think the Mishra's Factory is just because it is the original art. It's one of the harder to find arts as well. And also the winter art in Mishra's Factory just looks really, really neat. If you're on the YouTube watching this as opposed to listening on podcasts, you probably see it on your screen right now. Dwarven Recruiter, Evan, I am with you on that. Honestly, I thought that was an undervalued card to begin with. I was surprised it was only slightly more than $1 just a week ago. So I think $7 is much more around where it probably should be anyway, based upon the age of the card and how if you build around it right, you can actually have a pretty powerful little punch there. But yeah, Winter's Night, fully agree with you. Certainly a Kaldheim response on this. For those who don't know, Winter's Night is an enchant world for 1 white, red, and green. Says, whenever a snow-covered land is tapped for mana, it produces 1 additional mana of the same type and does not untap during the controller's next untap phase. Essentially getting a 2-for-1 when you tap those lands with the penalty of not being able to use that land the following turn. But yeah, I agree with you. I believe this is definitely a Kaldheim bump, specifically for EDH players. I believe I don't see Legacy or Vintage players really going for that. And to point out our losers, our 3 largest losing cards over the past week, we have in third Elvish Promenade, an uncommon, dropped from $9.50 to about $6. It's a loss of 36%. Johan, kind of like jogging or yogging. I'm not sure if it's a soft J. Anchorman reference for you. That one dropped from even $20 to about 12.5, which is 37.65%. And Terrain Generator, a card we mentioned last month as one of our big winners. Well, it's now one of our big losers, dropping 58%, going from just over $18 to about 7 2/3. Evan, go with you first. What do you notice with these 3?
It seems like it's almost price corrections. It's not really, these aren't kind of reactions to anything. It's just like correcting from previous like ups and downs, like Terrain Generator, like you mentioned. Last month just shot up. This month shot back down to pretty much the same price. So it's just speculation, if anything, from people on these cards, and it's like as bad as the stock market, or as good as the stock market, however you want to play that.
The stock market is not an indicator of the economy. Let's just say that right now. Get that out of the way. Jim, what are you seeing from these?
I mean, I was thinking pretty much the same thing as Evan. Like, we look at these cards and sometimes we don't know why they come up and then they come back down. And I guess maybe there was no reason for them to go up in the first place. Looking at the cards, it's definitely not clear. It doesn't look very Kaldheimish or anything of that sort.
Well, with one exception, I might want to add up. So that first card I mentioned, Elvish Promenade, which was almost $10, now down to $6. I think it's going to drop even more. So Elvish Promenade is a tribal sorcery. For green and 3, put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token in the battlefield for each elf you control. Now, let me tell you about this newly spoiled card called Elvish Ambush, which is green and 3 instant. Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token for each elf you control. Aside from the lack of tribal, it is strictly better than Elvish Promenade, which, as I mentioned, is now on its way down.
You're right. You got it.
That's some critical context right there.
Call me crazy, but I think that might be related. Well, gentlemen, speaking of things being relative, and let's talk about relatives, because we do have Christmas coming up. Happy Festivus for the rest of us. Hanukkah going on, I believe, right now, and all that fun jazz. Any Christmas plans for you guys? Evan?
Well, I can't go home. COVID-19, it's been crazy out here in LA, and just the other day I talked to my parents. Sorry, I can't make it. They were understanding. You know, it's fine. It's gonna be different this year. So, but I don't think about the snow. That's a plus, I guess. Back to Cleveland for a few weeks. So I'm looking for all the pluses as I can. Snow is one.
but Cleveland rocks, or so I'm told.
That might be their new team name too. Who knows?
That's right. Yeah, the Indians no longer going to be the Indians. Jim, how about you? You just going to hold up there in the Bay Area, or going to head back up to the snow yourself?
No, I am not getting anywhere near the snow. I do not want to risk anything happening to my family. But my brother and my sister-in-law and my nephew live here in the Bay, and so I will have some family to celebrate Christmas with. We've all been very careful about staying isolated in a bubble, and so we've been able to get together regularly. So it'll be a smaller Christmas, but it'll still be a family Christmas. So that will be nice.
Yeah, Christmas is
you're allowed one other family member along with the new California guidelines, I think. So you're following them.
Hey, there you go. Hey, well, my family, we're just going to stay up here in NorCal and just kind of ride it out, just me and my household. So I guess the lesson here is, folks, stay home, stay safe, and if you have to go out, wear a mask. Be socially cognizant of others. Oh, and the whole happy holidays thing. Probably have one of those too.
Right.
Anyway, that's it for us for December's Magic Untapped podcast. I am Barry White, and with me this time are Jim Avery, Evan Simon, all of us giving you a Tim Taylor salute. Oh wait, no, that's a different show. Merry Christmas, everybody.